Hey, how's it going? It's Big Dog EDM AB 2018 coming back at you with another video. Back here in my little man cave here, as today I'm going to be wearing the Habs away jersey. I still have the other ones I was showed in the video, the home jersey, the sweater with the Habs logo on it, and obviously, like I said, since I'm in the Edmonton area, obviously I'm going to keep the Oilers sweater up there, and maybe in future videos if the Oilers happen to do better I might have even talk about them, but for the most part I want to kind of stick with the team, the Bleu Blanc and Rouge, and here we go. So today I'm actually going to be talking about the contracts for all the players that we have on the team. Now this upcoming season we have a cap hit of $77.5 million, which sounds pretty high, pretty crazy, but a lot of obviously there's a couple of contracts that are taking up quite a bit of that cap space, so I'll be going through that, and we actually have $4 million left over. So once I'm done through listing all the players and their contracts and all the other stuff, we'll go from there, and yeah, we'll just go from there. Anyway, so forward position. So the highest paid forward right now is Jonathan Drouin, and he still has 4 years left on his contract, and it's about $5.5 million. And as I said yesterday, I believe that if you have a guy with he has the talent, with a guy of his talent, and you're paying him almost $6 million. I feel that a number 3 line to have him there is kind of crazy, considering that when you get into Kotkaniemi and Armia, they're not making even close to that amount of money. So, for Drouin's sake, hopefully he has a really good training camp and he can get back up into that top 6 role, because, like I said, I believe he is a top 6 forward. Putting him on that third line just seems kind of crazy, and well, like I said, hopefully he has a good training camp and gets his confidence back, and then we'll go from there. The next player down is Tomas Tatar. Tomas Tatar! I love that guy. That was funny. That's really good. He still has 2 years left at a cap hit of $4.8 million, so almost $5 million. And very good season, considering he's been bouncing around 3 teams in the past 2 years. So I really like Tomas Tatar. I think he is a number 1 line winger, and hopefully he can keep on producing, getting goals and all the other stuff. And yeah, I got really nothing negative to say against him. And the next guy down is Brendan Gallagher. He has 2 years left at a cap hit of $3.75 million. Now, granted, once these next 2 years pass, so I think it'll be the 2022, 2020. Sorry, it'll be the 2020. Hold on, we're running 2019 to 2021. So once you get to the 2021-2022 season, he'll be a free agent, and I bet you for a guy like him, he'll definitely be expecting to make a lot more than $3 million a year. So we'll see how. We'll see. I guess at that point in time, where Montreal's standing, but for the time being, he's still on our team. And unless Bergevin does something crazy, tries to trade him in the next 2 years, fingers crossed that he doesn't. He's been our leading goal scorer the past 2 seasons. I really like Gally. Next guy down is Paul Byron. He has 4 years left. I think he just re-signed his contract at 3.4. And I think that's a very good number for a number. I believe he's just like a number 3, or he's on the 3rd line, 4th line, depending. I'm okay with that. I really like Byron. He's got a lot of heart, and there's a reason that he's wearing the A. Next guy down is Max Domi. He has 1 year left at 3.15 mil. And at the end of this upcoming season, he will be an RFA. And that means basically that if for some reason Montreal can't sign him within the next X amount of months, 10 months, whatever the case may be, or 11 months, that another team could make an offer sheet for him. But if Montreal matches it, obviously he's going to re-sign with Montreal, because Montreal tried to do the same thing with Sebastian Aho of Carolina. But Carolina just basically said, haha, well, you tried to sign him, but we're going to get him back because we're going to pay him what you just offered him. So hopefully it doesn't come to that. I know Domi really likes being in Montreal. It's obviously a bit of a change from Arizona to there. So hopefully he can re-sign before the season ends, because otherwise that's all you're going to hear from the media is contract talk. And I'm sure that's the last thing players want to deal with, especially in a media environment like Montreal, that those questions are going to come at you left, right, and center. So hopefully he has thick skin. The next player down on the list is Philippe Deneau. He still has 2 years left at a cap hit of 3.08 mil. So a very solid centerman, and I'll get into the lines and stuff like that, because I mean, he's been their number 1 center for the past 3 years, but he's not the number 1 center that we need. So like I said, I'll talk more about that as we get further into the video. Joel Armia just re-signed this past off season, or just in July or June, whatever the case may be. He had 2 years at $2.6 million. I think that's a very good number for a number 3 forward. His Finnish friend, Arteri Lehkonen, he also signed a 2-year at 2.4, so almost about the same contract. I really like Lehkonen. I'm glad he's sticking around. Hopefully he can have keep. Like I said, Lehkonen, I'm okay with being on the second or third line. He's definitely not going to be a top line winger unless he just blows the competition away. So whether he's paired with Kotkaniemi or whether he's paired with Domi or whoever is their number 2 center, I'm okay with wherever he is, because he's going to go through dry spells, but I mean, like I said, maybe this year can be different. He can get on a hot streak and then really produce. The next guy down on the list is Dale Weiss, and I think he signed that contract with Philadelphia in the offseason of 2016, if I'm not mistaken. This is his final year at 2.35, and like I said, it's unfortunate that Weiss is at this part of his career, because it was great bringing him in to kind of reconnect with his fellow teammates from the 2014 or 2015 season, but he's just not the same player he was. Age has definitely played a factor, and like I said, the game is just so fast nowadays that it's impossible to keep up. So I just feel that Weiss being on the team is going to be like a healthy scratch, or Montreal might end up trying to buy out the last year of his contract, because I just don't see him fitting into whether it's that bottom line. He's unless Armia goes down with an injury, I don't see him being on that third line. But like I said, it was just nice to bring him back because he loves Montreal. The next player down is Wheel. He re-signed this offseason, 2-year at 1.4 for a bottom 6 guy. I'm okay with that. That's a very good contract. Hopefully he can produce. This will be his first full season with Montreal, so we'll see how he does there, where he sits in their roster, because like I said, their roster is so unpredictable because you have players going up and down the lineup, changing spots. So we'll see where he is at the start of the season. Another guy who re-signed was Matthew Pekka. He signed a 1-year, $1.3 million, and again, just like Wheel, he's a bottom 6 forward, so I'm okay with that deal. That's a very good one. And then they also brought back Nate Thompson, 1 year at $1 million. That's a very good contract, considering like Thompson's a 4th liner, and you're not going to get a whole lot for being on the 4th line because you're not playing as often as you are compared to the 1st or 2nd line. And I like Thompson, and hopefully, again, he can have this will be just like Wheel. This will be his first full season donning the blue blind rouge, so we'll see how he fares out with there. They also signed Nick Cousins in the offseason. I believe he was played in Arizona. I could be mistaken. To a 1-year, $1 million contract, same thing as Thompson, to try to crack the lineup. Where Cousins sits in the lineup is really unpredictable. I believe it's just going to all come down to injuries and training camp, see how players play with other people and in certain positions. Cousins could easily crack that 4th line, and he can also be a healthy scratch at the same time, so it really all depends. The next guy down is Kotkaniemi, obviously the incredible talent that he had in his rookie season this past year. He still has 2 years left at $925,000, so he's not even making $1 million. But just like in Gallagher, in 2 years, he's going to be asking for a lot of money, because I'm sure that within the next 2 years he'll be developed, get a little bit bigger. Ideally, in a perfect situation, you'd want to have him as your top 6 centers, whether he's on the 1st line or 2nd line. Obviously, he'll probably stay on the 3rd line this season because they already have Dano and Domi, but obviously in the future, hopefully, as long as he gets re-signed, that's your goal, is to have him be in that top pairing. And then last but not least is Charles Hudon, who I mentioned last time. I was very surprised that they brought him back. They brought him back on a 1-year, $800,000 contract. So we'll see how he does. Maybe he can have a really good training camp and he can crack that 4th line spot as well. Like I said, there's just so many 4th line players on this roster that it's just going to be a battle to see who really wants to get that. So that's all their forward positions. Now moving on to the defense. Obviously, the highest paid defenseman on our team is Shea Weber. He still has 7 years left at $7.86 million. Now, the money is okay for a defenseman to make almost $8 million. That's understandable. But just whereas Weber's, I believe he's 33, if I'm not mistaken. So he still has 7 years left. So he's under contract basically till he's 40 years old. And I just don't see him playing till he's 40. I feel like he only has a good 2 or 3 more years left. And then the injury bug could really play a factor, fatigue. He's been in the league for quite some time now, and obviously granted mostly with Nashville. But I just feel that with the game being so fast as it is now, he's not the fastest skater, if not the fastest defenseman. That's why it just killed me inside when Bergevin traded away Sergachev, because he's a he's a right-sided defenseman. He's fast and he's young, so I mean that could have been like Sergachev could have taken over for Weber at that number one line for the defenseman. Weber could have bumped to the number two, so it wouldn't have been as much ice time for him. But obviously, we traded him away for Drouin, and look how great that trade worked out for us. After that, we have Jeff Petrie. He still has 2 more years left at $5.5 million. And that's a very good contract. I really like Jeff Petrie. He loves Montreal. He's been with us since the 2014-2015 season when he got traded from Edmonton. So it's hard to believe he's been there for now 5 years. And then the contract after that, everyone's going to be just shaking their heads. It's Alsner. He still has 3 more years left at 4.63. And what Bergevin was thinking back in 2017, I'm not sure, but obviously he hasn't really panned out too well. He did play the full first season, the 2017-2018 season, but last year he's been going back and forth with Laval, healthy scratches, and I just feel that Alsner's best days are behind him. So it's very unfortunate that we're stuck with his contract, but it is what it is. The next defenseman here I have very high hopes for is Ben Sherratt, the guy we signed from Winnipeg. He has a 3-year deal at $3.5 million. I believe that's a very good contract. He should be a top 4 defenseman for the Habs. We also brought back Brett Kulak at 3 years at 1.85. That's a very good contract for a guy who most likely will be on that third pairing. And then we also re-signed Mike Riley, a left-handed defenseman, for 2 years at 1.5. And then we also got Christian Fullen re-signed at 1 year at $800,000 for being on the right-hand side. And then we also have Victor Mete, is in his last year of his rookie contract, and he's only making like $748,000. So after this season's done, he'll become an RFA. And again, just like Domi, if other teams try to make an offer out of Montreal can match it, but hopefully it doesn't come down to that. Hopefully we can try to sign Mete and then keep him there for many, many years. And then when it comes to the goalies, obviously we still have Carey Price. He has 7 years and a cap hit of $10.5 million. So he's basically the highest paid player on the team. So you're paying him all that money to stop the pucks, which is a shame because players nowadays, high scoring players, are making almost that much money. So it seems kind of crazy that we're paying him that much money to stop pucks when other teams are paying players that much money to score. So a little ironic. And then we also just signed Kincaid in the offseason to a 1 year, $1.75 million. So I like that contract. Hopefully Kincaid can have a bounce back year from what he did from the past offseason between Jersey and Columbus. So only time will tell. We'll see how many injured bodies we have after injury camp, after training camp, and then see how preseason goes and the opening night roster and all that other stuff. So I just want to quickly go through. I know I went through the rosters in the previous video, but this is what I would like to see happen. Now, this is granted that Paling and Suzuki don't make the team for some odd reason. I really hope they do. But if for some reason Paling and Suzuki aren't on the opening night roster, I would like to see this be their lineup. And I will just jot this down as quickly as possible. I'll just do their forwards because their defense is pretty well already set. Like I said, we have Mete and Weber together, and I think that's a very good for the first line. And then we also have Sherratt, Petrie. They should play together. And then when it comes down to the third pairing, Fullen most likely stays on the right side as a right-handed defenseman, and that's going to come down to either Mike Riley or Brett Kulak for that 6th spot. So that's what I believe should happen for their defense. And obviously you don't have to go too deep on the goaltending because Price is clearly the number 1 goalie, so I don't have to really use that for the board. Okay, so I'll just show you this really quick. This is what I believe the opening lineup should be. I believe you should take Deneau out of the top line. And now, I'm nothing against Philippe Deneau, but to me, I feel that you should really have him at the number 3 spot. He is a penalty killer, so if you have him on the first line, he's going to be playing a lot of ice time. Now, I'm very much aware that him and Tatar and Gallagher had a very good chemistry. They had a very good year altogether. They did produce a lot of points, but I just feel that Domi, who did because Domi last year, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure between Domi and Deneau, they kept switching back and forth. Obviously, Deneau in the end was the number 1 guy, but I believe Domi should be taking that next step this year as the number 1 center. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, it should be Kotkaniemi or Paling, but those guys I still believe are still a couple years away from developing. They need to get a little bit bigger, a little bit wiser, and obviously that'd be a wonderful 1-2 punch in the years to come. But just for this upcoming season, I'd like to see Domi get that number 1 center spot paired between Tatar and Gallagher, and then Lehkonen and Kotkaniemi still keep them on the same line. Maybe you put Drew in with them, and then that can really change things up. And then on the third line, I had Byron, Deneau, and Armia. And like I said, this is nothing against Philippe Deneau, but I just feel that he's not really the number 1 center. You know what I mean? So hopefully that'd be pretty cool. And obviously I kept Pekka, Thompson, Wheel on the bottom 6. Like I said, maybe Houdon or Cousins. They have a terrific camp, and then they can replace one of those 3 on the bottom 6 role. But I just feel that if you took, like I said, if you just took Domi, put him in the number 1 spot, because he did play there for a little bit last year at times, brought Kotkaniemi up to the number 2 spot, and then brought Deneau back down to a number 3 role, that would be absolutely perfect. Now, obviously, if you have Paling and Suzuki, then that would completely change up your lineup, but I'm just basing it off of if for some reason they don't make the team or this on opening night. But those are my predictions for what I believe should happen. Feel free to leave comments below whether you agree, disagree, whatever the case may be. Thanks a lot for watching, and stay tuned.